I didn't even know how to start this video. In fact, it's been a month of solid reflection of what I just experienced. How do you explain something like Expedition 33? The story, the combat, the emotion you feel within the first few minutes, it's all unbelievable. But the more I thought about it, the more it hit me. It's not just about how good this game is, it's about what this game means, not just for players, but for the entire future of gaming. At this point, you probably already know Expedition 33 isn't just the highest rated game of 2025, it's one of the highest rated games of all time. And it's the highest user rated game, meaning real players, not just critics, are aligned. This is special. No overinflated budgets, no controversy, no corporate red tape, no minimap. And depending on who you ask, that's either a pro or a con. But here's what really makes this game stand out. It was made by just 33 developers. And what they accomplished, it's unreal. When you have a small team working with a unified vision without needing 5 levels of approval for every decision, you can build something incredible, something cohesive, something that reminds massive AAA studios what real innovation actually looks like. And trust me, they're watching. Indie games have always held a special place in my heart. They're where you'll find the risks, the weird ideas, the bold mechanics, the part that AAA studios sometimes can't afford to show. Expedition 33 is technically a bigger budget indie, almost a AAA, but it still carries that spirit. Without massive investors breathing down their necks, this team had the freedom to make their game. I mean, let's be real, a fully turn-based RPG with real-time action mechanics would be a tough sell at most major publishers. But for a focused, passionate team, that's exactly the kind of bold direction they can chase. And because the devs had that freedom, we didn't get a safe, predictable RPG. We got this. We've seen hints of real-time inputs in turn-based games before. Think time button presses in Super Mario RPG or the dodge mechanics in Sea of Stars. But those were usually optional or soft bonuses. In Expedition 33, real-time mechanics are non-negotiable. There's a boss early on that will literally one-shot you if you don't dodge or parry. This game doesn't hold your hand or apologize for being demanding. It just says, this is what we built, get good. And I love that, because that level of design confidence, that clear creative vision, it only happens when a team is completely locked in. The combat itself is deep, flexible, and rewarding. You build your moveset from a pool of unlockable skills, 6 at a time, pretty standard, and then they laid on a system called Pictos, which are like passive stat buffs with unique abilities. Once you win 4 battles with your equipped Pictos, you can unlock the ability to permanently assign those passives to any party member. That alone opens up wild synergy potential, and it only gets crazier from there. Each Pictos has a Lumia cost, kind of like a point cap system. You can only equip as many Pictos as your Lumina allows, but as you level up and find upgrades, your cap expands, giving you more room to customize without ever feeling boxed in. This affects everything from dodges and parries to basic attacks and skills. One of my favorite mechanics is free aim, a sidearm shot you can trigger before any action. It's not just chip damage. With the right Pictos, you can burn enemies, mark them, or give you more AP to chain into other moves. I leaned hard into this mechanic, building out a strategy where I'd mark and burn enemies with a shot, then follow up with Lune to capitalize on that burn and generate more AP for her plus a second turn immediately after. Then I tag in Mael, who can enter a stance that deals 200% more damage to marked targets. It's wild how many layers are stacked into this system. Weapons have elemental affinities and passive traits that synergize with your party setup. You don't need to toss a weapon just because the base damage falls behind. The utility of its passive might be too good to give up. Combat is the glue of Expedition 33. It's the system you engage with most, and it's the reason why I couldn't stop playing. And the best part, it all feels intentional. This is what happens when a small, passionate team doesn't have to get 17 approvals to tweak a single feature. They just build, refine, and evolve. No fluff, no filler, just bold ideas executed with clarity. And I guarantee you, other devs are going to study this system closely. The combat is incredible, no question. But what surprised me most was the story. It's thoughtful, it's emotional, and it gives purpose to every decision you make. From the first few scenes, the game pulls you in. It doesn't just drop you into a fight, it drops you into a world that feels broken, beautiful, and somehow still full of hope. It doesn't hold your hand either. You're expected to pay attention, to feel the weight of what's happening. And somehow, within minutes, you do. You care about the mission. You care about the people. You care about what it all means. That's not easy to pull off, but this game does it effortlessly. It's tough to talk about the story without giving too much away. Honestly, I had to wait weeks just to discuss Act 1 with people. I was on Twitter practically begging folks to play the first 10 hours so we could actually talk about it. And that's the thing. No matter how good a game is, we all still still only have 24 hours in a day. But Expedition 33 respects that time. The pacing never felt slow. If anything, it felt like a steady racetrack. Some stretches let you coast and other hit the gas, but it always moved forward with purpose. I didn't find myself rushing to get through a section just so I could put the controller down. More often, I was hoping a scene would last just a bit longer, and that's rare for me. Even with some of the best games this generation, pacing can get messy. But here, in that 25 to 40 hours, the story stays tight, deep, and consistently engaging. And for someone like me, someone who usually hates longer games, the fact that I kept wanting more says everything. Very few games have casts that make the experience, but Expedition 33 absolutely does. From Gustav to Mael to the rest of the party, every character has a unique personality and a distinct way of processing grief, which is the central theme of the story. It honestly feels like watching a reality show, but in the best way, where everyone feels real, layered, and deeply human. The voice acting is incredible, the motion capture work adds so much subtlety, and the music, the way it wraps around each scene, especially during character-driven moments, and makes everything a little bit more emotional. Whew. These characters bring life to a world that could easily feel desolate. It's their stories, their experiences, their little side comments that create color in the middle of a fading world. One moment that stuck with me was learning that one of the characters lost her husband years ago. He was older, so he gamaged before her. That loss shaped everything about her outlook on life, the weapon she wielded, how she used her lumina, and even her choice to never have children. And what blew me away was how that decision wasn't just background lore. It caused conflict with other characters in the party. Real, meaningful tension about how they each saw legacy, family, and what it means to bring life to a broken world. That kind of character writing is rare, and it's what makes this journey feel so personal. I imagine what it would be like to live in this broken world, still holding on to hope that maybe, just maybe, you could save it. It's dark, it's mature, but it's also real. And listen, I'm not someone who usually gets caught up in the story. I'm a combat first type of player, but this changed that. I felt things, and I haven't stopped thinking about them since. But a story this powerful needs a world that can carry it, and Expedition 33 does something I rarely see in games. It doesn't just tell you the world is broken, it shows you. Every village, every ruined path, every crumbling monument feels like it has a past. The way this world is built visually, structurally, and even symbolically reinforces the themes of loss, resilience, and beauty in decay. There are people, or maybe creatures like Justrals and Grandis, who live beyond the edges of Lumiere, the glowing city where the story begins. It's jarring at first to see the contrast between a polished modern metropolis and a crumbling, dusty village filled with half-mythical beings. But the deeper you go, the more your perspective shifts. These forgotten outposts start to feel like real cities, and the world you thought was civilized starts to feel hollow. Most games that build a barren world end up making it feel, well, barren. But Expedition 33 doesn't fall into that trap. Its grayscale and black and white palettes, satellite dungeons, and scattered optional bosses, many of them wildly overleveled, they all work together to sell the idea that this is a dying world, a world scarred by what's come before. But instead of feeling empty, it feels alive with mystery. I found myself wanting to explore every corner, to mentally track locations, to revisit places later when the story details click. The world evolved as I did, narratively and mechanically. And yes, this game was clearly inspired by classic JRPGs, but there's also a strong Souls-like thread running through it, not just in the enemy placement or level design, but in how it refuses to coddle the player. You either improve or you get left behind. It's bold, it's brutal, and completely intentional. And honestly, I don't think turn-based RPGs get much better than this. What Expedition 33 proved is that there are games that don't need to be massive to feel massive. They just need a clear vision, a team that's all in, and the freedom to build something meaningful. And if bigger studios are paying attention, this game might be the blueprint for what comes next. Every detail about this game development feels unreal. The incredible soundtrack, they found the composer on SoundCloud. The dev team, led by a former Ubisoft developer who left because he was bored. It was a perfect storm. The right people, the right vision, and the freedom to execute. That's what created a generational product. Now, not everything about this can be replicated. You can't fake art. But if there's one thing big publishers should take away from this, it's this: let your developers lead. Expedition 33 wasn't just a good story or a great combat or a bold world. It was a rare game that blended all those pieces into something greater than the sum of its parts. When corporate hands step in to reshape games based on market trends, monetization models, or profit projections, they strip away the very soul that makes titles like this possible. Look at what happened with Titanfall 3. One of the greatest FPS series of all time was shelved because it didn't fit the mold of a battle royale or live service title. It didn't matter that the developers were passionate or that fans were asking for it. It wasn't safe on paper. Game development is hard, it's expensive, and it doesn't always pay off. But when you trust the people making the game, when you give them the space to take risks and build something meaningful, you get smash hits like Expedition 33. Will the industry listen? Probably not. But it's nice to hope tomorrow comes.